All right, guys. So we're going to do a quick project right here. We're going to do a cartoon effect today. So you all need your Chromebook. You need everything there ready to roll. So we're going to do this in steps. So that way you all understand the process. So let's go to photop.com. So once you get to photop.com, I'm going to kind of wait to make sure you all get there. This is going to be a video where it's more of a step by step type situation where I will wait and give you all time. You're all going to need to today sit in your assigned seats because I need to know that you understand this process for our yearbook. Okay, so our first step, I've got three pictures that I'm going to allow you to use, and they're going to be in the canvas. So let's look at that really quickly so you can see this process. Okay, so here's the process. You're going to basically going to go to your Canvas page, your assignments. It's called Cartoon Effect 102122. These are the pictures. It states use only one of these pictures from this shared folder. So when you click on this, you got three pictures. Now I've intentionally put high quality pictures in here. And they're if you look at them, they have pictures that have depth of field, high quality. She's on one side, you have another one, and then you have a third one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to download it like I asked you to do. So that's the one picture, and then from there I'm going to go to my Photopea. I'm going to go File, and we're going to open in place. In this case, it just says open. So I'm going to go ahead and open this picture. So now you have it set up like you want. Okay. Make sure that you have opened it. At this point, the open in place, you'll use that at the end when you add your logo. Okay, so now that you've added it, what you're going to do is you're going to go to the right side where the layers are, and you're going to double click and you're going to duplicate that layer where you have a layer one and the background. So, what you're going to do there is then you're going to right click on that and you want to convert layer one into a smart object. Okay, so as a very important reference here, what you need to do once you get to this point, this is very important. You need to go to File and you need to save it as a PSD, like a Photoshop derivative file. The reason you're going to do that is because if you just save it in a Photopea, in this case, you want to save it as a Photoshop file, and that's your extension .psd. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to save it, my first name, my last name, and list it as cartoon effect. Now it's saved. Shouldn't be any issues while you're trying to figure out what the issues were with your Chromebook or whatever the case may be. Now you have it placed to do some design. Okay, so real quick, let me show you something just in case. That way you all understand this process. Over here, you should have layer one. It should show smart filters, and then you're getting ready to do something with shadows and highlights, and then you have your background. So let's say you're done for the day. You went and clicked save as a PSD file. I'm going to save it and replace it as a PSD file. So now that way all my changes are saved. Now I'm going to close it out. I'm going to come back in and go back to Photopea. When I go to Photopea, I'm going to go File, Open, and I'm going to find that PSD file. So look, see how that's a JPG file? I'm going to find this PSD file, click on it, and it should open up everything that you see on the right, everything that I've done. So my next step, I'm going to click on Image and Adjustments, and I'm going to go down to Shadows and Highlights. Now, one thing you can do is you can come right here and you can grab this and move it around. I'm going to move it over here. One thing you should have is 50, 25, 12, and then everything else is zero. Now, if I want to go and change the highlights or whatever the case may be, or make the tone different, you can kind of see, like, if I want to make him look older, you can make him look older like he's got gray hair, or you do something with a radius. What that does is that makes things in a circular fashion. But we're going to go back and you can just type it in 50. Let's go 25 and let's go to 12. Okay, and click OK. So that kind of puts us, that's the presets were like where I want them to be. So that's what we're going to use. Go back to image. We're going to click on the adjustments, and then we're going to now choose vibrance. So the thing about vibrance is you can adjust it however you want. And this is what's cool about it. Like so, some of the pictures we took the other day with the iPad. When you come in here, you can play with the vibrance, make it really nice. I mean, this is a cartoon effect demonstration, but you could notice that if you really wanted to make your pictures pop, you can do all kinds of cool stuff. We can go black and white. We can really saturate it. So it depends on what you want to do. In this case, I'm going to go 15 and 75, but it's also based on your preference. Now you see that I've got quite a bit of color. So some of the pictures, sometimes the lighting is not what you want it to be. And if that's the case, then you go into your image and you go to adjustments and you can play with your vibrance. Getting ready to make it look more like a cartoon. If you notice, you have your vibrance, you have your shadows and highlights. I did it a couple times, so it's okay. You got your layer, and then you got your background. So if you look at it, one thing you can do is you can turn this off. You can turn this off and see what the original picture looks like. So you see the difference. If I click on the eye right there, that takes everything away from that top layer. If I click on the eye again, you can see that. And of course, since this is on top, there's nothing's going to happen with the background. So the next process is you're going to click on filter, and then you're going to click on filter gallery. And let me have to reset that real quick. Sometimes it will give you a problem. So one thing that I've had noticed that I had to do is periodically I'm going to save that and replace the file. That way it's the same file. I'm going to close it out, and sometimes you got to go back in to Photopea. Remember, it is a web-based program, so there will be some issues on occasion. As long as you save your work, you're in good shape. So see, there it is. Everything's fine. Now I'm going to go back to filter, filter gallery, and now it pops up. Okay, so under the artistic section, I'm going to go to poster edges. Okay, now we're already starting to look like a cartoon. Okay, now one thing you can do, you can look at your edge thickness. You can look at all these different things. There's apps right here that can make it look good. You can add like different things like that. Posterization. I really like that. It just depends on how much of a cartoon you want to make it look like. You already have a background that's out of focus. So that being said, I'm going to go with 212. To me, that's kind of a happy medium, if you will. Now I'm going to click OK, and now we're starting to really get somewhere. Okay, so the next step, we're going to go back to filter, and we'll review some of this, but we're going to go back to filter. In this case, we're going to go to stylize. Okay, and then under stylize, we want to go back to oil paint. Okay. Now, when you get into the oil paint, one thing you're already going to do is you're going to uncheck lighting. Okay. And it doesn't look like it's going to make a big difference. If you look at the lighting and the texture, you got texture right there. I'm going to click that right there. And that pulls a lot of that texture away. I want to show you again. Let me move this over. Like I'm going to click on lighting. And if you notice the texture in the background and then the face, whatever the case may be. Now, every picture is going to be slightly different depending on the lighting and all that stuff. But this is a way that, as an editor, as a photographer, as a graphic designer, these are some of the things that you can manipulate, right? So, what you're going to do here, you can mess with the radius, you can mess with the shine, or whatever the case may be. But in this case, I'm going to go back to what it was. If you make a mistake, you can always hit uh, can always reset it. So that's the reset right there. Or you hit Control Z is undo. All right. So I'm going to hit lighting, and I'm going to take the radius to 5.0, and we're going to take the cleanliness to 5.0. And now just by adding 5.0 to the cleanliness, scale is going to be at 1. The Bristol detail is going to be at 0, and we'll just leave the shine at 1, and then the angle won't change. You can change the angle if you want to. You can change it to 60% if you want to. Uh, but in this case, let's keep it at 45 just for that sake. You can't really see much of a difference. You're going to click OK. Now, this is important. We've got a lot done. It looks really good. It's really starting to look like my cartoon that I want. So what are we going to do? Periodically, remember it's a web-based program. I'm going to go File, Save as a PSD. I've already named it. I'm going to save it and then replace it. Okay. All right. So that's the next step. Okay, guys, we're back to photop.com here. The next thing we're going to do, and we're working on that cartoon effect, is you're going to go back to the filter gallery. So click on filter and then click on filter gallery. In this case, you're going to click on under the artistic section as the cutout. Now with the cutout, it depends on the picture and the still image. You're going to choose your levels. In this case, I'm going to choose 8. Let me see here. Let's look at add simplicity. Let's go to 7. It's a preference thing, but if you have, let's try to, since we're all going to use similar pictures, let's try to stay close to the different settings. Then you're going to click OK, and then there you go. Now, again, after you do every major setting, you want to make sure that you go to File, Save as a PSD, Photoshop file, and click Save and Replace. Remember, here's the reason. If I want to go back in, oh, I messed it up, or I can't get to it, I'm going to go back to Photopea, and I'm going to open it, and remember, it's going to be wherever you saved it. It's a PSD file. That is the extension. And boom, there it is. If you look at all your filters and things like that on the right, everything is good. Everything should be there. And remember, it's the PSD extension. So at some point, you could even use this. What I like about this is you could use this for a Photoshop file. A lot of things that we're doing with this. So one thing that you're going to definitely want to do is double click on this little small cog icon, if you want to call it, right there. Okay, and it's going to bring up your blending options, and it's next to that filter gallery layer all there on the right, and it should bring up the blending options right there. Um, what you're going to do is you're going to reduce this opacity to, filter in the effects that you want. So I set that at 60%. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you real quick. Say we made a mistake. I don't like what I did. I'm going to hit Control Z. It should undo. But in that case, you still got to go back. You're going to the filter gallery. With that little cog, and you're going to, you can change the opacity to whatever you want. Remember we talked about that. You got a preview right there. But in this case, leave the blend mode at normal, and you're going to choose 60%, you know, and it changes it ever so slightly. And you got, a really good set right there. Now, to make tweaks to colors and things like that you would like, you're going to click on that to create another layer. So again, let me show you the process. You have all your filters like you want. So we're going to tweak the color scheme here. So you're going to go down to the bottom. Now, if you click on that, it's going to delete some things. Okay. So you can just hover over these icons, like it says new folder, raster mask. You have your new adjustment layer. You have your layer styles, link layers, and things like that. But in this case, we're going to add another layer. So you see layer 2, you should have layer 1, smart filters, so on and so forth, and you have your background. Now, again, remember, if you want to click on the eyeball, it cuts everything out so you can see what the picture of the young man looks like or whatever picture you chose, and then what you want it to be for the cartoon effect. Okay. So again, we're going to go back in. We're going to save as a PSD file, and we're going to replace the file that we have. Now we're in good shape. Really print this out. Go ahead and drop your photo credit or design credit or your logo. In this case, let's put our logo on there because that's not really considered to be a photo. It is. Let's say you took the photo and then you want to make it look like a cartoon. That's kind of what a process is. Okay, so the next thing after you have your layer, you're going to come up here and you're going to drop it down where you're going to click on the color. Okay, now these are some of the things where you're making tweaks that you want. And then when we set that blend mode right there to color, opacity is going to be the same thing. Now, what you're gonna come over here and do, you're gonna select the brush tool, and you notice with the brush tool, there's a lot of things you can do with it. You click on this arrow down, and it gives you kind of your size. Like, if you wanted your size to be monstrous, you got that, but you don't necessarily. I would have a workable size that you can do. Now, I'm not clicking anything. I'm just kind of showing you how. Like if I wanted to click that, I'll do the background. I'm gonna hit Control Z and get rid of what I just did. Oh, I messed up, Control Z, I'm gonna get rid of what I just did. So there's, a couple options you can do to kind of help you with the process. Okay. If you wanted to change your sample color or something to the effect like that, you could. And we talk about desaturation. When we talk about desaturation, look at the forehead there where you have a major contrast, where there's a desaturation of the lighting and the dark. And there's a little bit of desaturating right here in the cheekbone area, even the nose area. So, like, the thing about the cartoon has a lot of contrast. So I kind of like how that's set up. If I print that out, that's going to look really good, you know. But of course, I got to put my logo on there, to ensure that like I have what I need. All right. And I have, I give myself the credit that I need. So in this case right here, what I can do, you can choose your color scheme, and all that stuff. If I wanted to, I could choose a color scheme to make changes or whatever the case may be. In this case, you want to try to, we're working more on the skin tones. I'm not really worried about the background. Now, if you wanted to, you could put it in remove BG, drop the background and do your own background, but and put it in a comic strip. But what you could do is just leave the background like it is. It's depth of field like we've talked about, right? And then how you all did on the iPads, which was a fantastic job. You all saw them on the TV scroll today. I went ahead and put them on there. I thought you all did a great job. So we got a lot of good compliments on them from teachers and students. So that being said, let's look at another little option here. So what I'm going to do, like if I want to add more of a contrast, I can. Like for example, if I want to move things around a little bit, I can. Like you see that right there. One cool thing about it, I'm holding the control button right there. Uh, but then also, I'm going to get rid of everything. I want everything to be gone. You can hit the Alt key. If you hit the Alt key on your keyboard, and hold it and hover like for a darker tool right there or a darker shade. If I want to get rid of this shade that I can make it like not having as much contrast. But to me, I really kind of like that process. I like what it looks like. The whites need to stay whiter. You have the brush tool, so if I want to do something with the brush tool, you can. Okay. So you want to add some pop to the image, then you can do some cool things like that with this layer two as well. You know, so I'm going to click on that. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Sorry about that. All right, so let's create a brightness and contrast layer. So let's go 25 and let's go 25. So the cool thing about it is, now I'm almost done. Before I finish, I want to do a quick save as a PSD. And the reason I keep doing that is because I want you all to be aware of that process. Okay. The last thing I did right here, this is just a review, is I clicked on brightness and I clicked right there. And then that was with that layer. Okay. So again, if I click on that, that's the original. I click on that. It doesn't really take a whole lot away. You can't really see the background. And then if I click on that, it cuts my brightness out. Now, last but not least, you got to ensure that you have the correct logo that you want to use. Okay, so whether it be Canva, whether it be your Adobe Express, you have to put your logo in, right? So I'm going to drop in my logo here real quick. Let's say I'm going to use this one just for the sake of having it. Okay. And I'm not quite done with that one, but I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to I'm going to get rid of the other parts of that logo there. And I'm going to download it as a PNG transparent because there's going to be nothing around it if you're in Adobe Express. And then I'm going to go File, Open in Place, and then I'm going to go to my downloads or my new documents, whatever the case may be. And there it is. Okay. And there, I put it in there. Obviously, I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. Okay. I'm going to put it right there. Okay. Now your logo, click on the arrow. Now it's in. Okay. Now that's pretty cool. Now, last but not least, I'm going to save it as a PSD. That file can always save. So if you ever wanted to make any editing changes, that's what you save it as. Now, when you finish, it's your prerogative to save it. You need to export it as, and I want to save it as a PNG. PNGs are a little higher profile, a little higher quality. Now, I've already labeled it, Jeremy Maguire cartoon effect. I'm going to hit save, and then there it is. So here should be my final result. Boom, right there. And then I'm going to take that file, and I'm going to go student view. Okay, let me leave student view here real quick. Sorry about that. So I'm going to publish it, hit student view. I'm going to start assignment. I'm going to upload file, choose my most recent. Okay, whatever the case may be. And I'm going to submit it. Okay, that's the process. Now, in this, I will put the demonstration right here where it says demon. I meant demonstration link right there. So that is the process of how to create your Photopea cartoon effect.